Welcome, one and all, to the Sports Headquarters NBA podcast. I guess I'll be hosting this, but I will not be commenting at all on anything NBA related. But with us tonight are two excellent NBA minds and Tyler. Hey, Tyler, how are you, buddy?
Hey, douche. I mean, Seth.
And of course, Keith, who will be chain smoking the entire time. Keith,
Damn
what's up?
right. What's up?
And Cole may not want to use this in your NBA endeavors as we move forward here.
Hard.
This could be a terrible idea for you eventually. But obviously, we're about at the mid-season point of the NBA season. I honestly have no idea what's going on, other than that the Cavaliers are trash, the Knicks are trash, and the Lakers are trash. So other than that, I have no idea what's going on. Tyler, update me.
Well, I mean, the Cavaliers are kind of trash, I guess. The Knicks are trash, yeah. Lakers are trash, which is awesome. Warriors are really good. And, I mean, what else do you want to know?
That's all I need.
That's it? Are we done?
Yeah.
All right.
Headline things. So let's get started. Tyler, you can leave. Let's get started with, of course, Cole, the NBA man. And let's start with Atlanta and the Eastern Division leading Atlanta Hawks. Did I pick that? No, I had. I thought Milwaukee might be good, but they're in the playoffs. So Keith, suck.
Full credit to you on that one, man. Full credit.
But Atlanta, I heard them reference today, and I thought this was interesting, and another team was as well, and I'll figure it out halfway through the podcast, that these guys are building their team the same way the 05 Pistons did. Your thoughts on that, Cole, and we'll bounce around to everybody for that.
I actually just researched that because I heard that parallel, and it's kind of similar. I mean, they're similar defenses. The Pistons were number 2 that season, and the Hawks are number 5 right now. But where that goes wrong is the offense. The Hawks have a top 6 offense. The Pistons, I think, were number 20 that year. So I think the general concept of not having a star and kind of building through a bunch of like pseudo really good players to all-stars. I think Horford's going to be an all-star, so is Millsap, probably Korver as well. And team deserves consideration. So I think the overall building of the team is kind of similar because there's no LeBron James on the team, but it's where it goes wrong. The corollary is the offense is just unreal. The ball movement is second to none in the league. It's probably them and the Spurs that really move the ball methodically. They have no weaknesses really on either side of the ball, and they're the real deal. They won 28 of 30, and I mean, I don't see them just going away. It's too large of a sample size to really say, they're not for real. I think they're the best team in the East right now.
Keith, outside of the Knicks being awful, Atlanta being this good, which is more surprising for you, the NBA fan?
I mean, I've always kind of been enamored with a few pieces Atlanta had. I did not at all think that Paul Millsap was going to turn into such a vital piece on such a legitimate contender. He, seemed like a little bit of a, the best you could hope for is like the contributing David Lee gets in Golden State at most, or if you put him on a bad team, he can certainly put up big numbers, but he's been, a legitimate stud and a really great on the Eastern Conference scale team. I have to say it's more surprising than the Knicks being trash. I mean, I lived through the Isaiah Thomas years. Knicks being trash is old hat to me. This is not anything that I'm unaccustomed to. The fact we have the draft pick's the only different thing, really. But the Hawks are mind-boggling. I don't know if I want to call them legitimate Eastern contender or just a super version of Toronto last year who nobody believed in. Or the Vegas odds certainly give a lot more credit to this Atlanta team than that Toronto team. And they're a lot smarter than I am in that regard. I have to buy into it on that respect, but personally, I don't know what to make of them, but I know damn well what to make of a bad Knicks team. I lived through the 2000s, damn it.
Tyler, for you, you weren't a huge Hawks fan, but I think if I remember you said that they could be a team that surprised. But best team in the East by, 6 games?
I mean, it's definitely a surprise. I don't think anybody could have seen it coming. I heard an interview the other day, and I forget with who it was. It was with Elton Brand, actually, and even he said he was really surprised with what the Hawks have done. So I don't think anybody saw it coming. I think most people saw, your Cleveland being right there at the top, not the Hawks. So, and it's just been a renaissance year for Horford coming back from his injury, and Teague, everybody's stepping up. That unit looks so cohesive. DeMarre Carroll has gone from some guy that bounces around the NBA to a legitimate starting three on that Hawks team, which is really strange. And I don't know, Budenholzer has just done magic. It's just been magic. That's the only word I got for it.
We'll stay in the East for 1 second and let you talk about your Washington Wizards. You were a fan coming in.
Yes.
I don't think you saw it coming this way. I think you saw Paul Pierce having a little more of an impact. But
yeah, I did, but it's all been negated by John Wall being a supreme all-star. He just got voted in as a starter. And the guy's having his best years in his career so far, and I don't expect that to stop anytime soon. I mean, that front court of Nene and Marcin Gortat to me is something that's going to be hard for teams in the East to handle come playoff time. I mean, you got Cleveland, they've got Timofey Mozgov. You've got Miami, they're starting Chris Bosh and Hassan Whiteside nowadays. I mean, it just seems like that Washington front court is going to be something that's really going to be tough to handle come playoff time.
It is a big advantage for them, no doubt.
Seth, are you trying to talk?
Oh,
I'm not hearing anything.
Sorry, I forget to unmute myself a lot. Plus, it's the NBA, so I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Let me hear it. Don't tell me where it is. I'd hate to not interrupt.
So, anyways, let's try this again. When you look at the East, Keith, and I'm going to let you start with the East because you're a fan of the worst team in the East, so you know something.
Damn right I am.
Yeah, I muted you, Cole, just for a second. You're unmuted now. When you look at the East, is a team like Cleveland, who with LeBron obviously is much better than without LeBron, but seemingly look like a two-man team right now, can they outlast teams like Washington and Atlanta and maybe even a Toronto, maybe a Chicago even, I don't know. Or in the end, will the superstar reign supreme in the East, Keith?
You never go too wrong in the NBA betting on the superstar, that's for sure. I mean, Cleveland looks dysfunctional. They're not that prolific on offense, not prolific on defense. Apparently, they all just hate David Blatt with an absolute passion, which I guess maybe with hindsight should have been more on my radar, but I thought with, his international pedigree and just the things I read about him coming into the season that he'd garner a lot more respect than the -0 he's currently getting. All that said, though, I mean, LeBron James in the East do so much work over the last few years that it's really, really hard to rule them out. I mean, you're not going to get me to say one unkind word about Timofey Mozgov, that's for damn sure. Former Knick great, like so many of them are. The acquiring of J.R. Smith for Dion Waiters was the greatest, just changing the name on the back of the jersey and getting nothing new in return in NBA history. Really cracked me up that they actually made that move. But Iman Shumpert, when he gets healthy, could actually be a legitimate defensive piece for them if they have the ability for him to mesh with what seems like a very cliquey team that's dysfunctional from top to bottom. Nothing about Cleveland, when you look at them right now, looks well, and yet I still can't rule them out because LeBron James is that damn good, and we've seen the superstar rise up in so many occasions. Also, when we're talking about teams like Atlanta being, by some accounts, the NBA favorite just based on the weakness of the East, and, I mean, that doesn't make any damn sense because it's the Atlanta fucking Hawks, so I mean, why not? I can't rule it out. That's for damn sure.
Cole, when you look, Cole, you're unmuted, Cole, and Keith's getting muted for a second. It's like PTI, kind of.
There you go.
My wife in the background taking selfies. Now I'm getting yelled at. When you look at the Cavs and the state of the roster after the trade, Kevin Love trade hasn't necessarily worked as everybody had hoped. Cole, the second trade, was that more just to appease LeBron and get Dion Waiters the hell out of there?
I think that was some aspects of it. Certainly they got some help, like he said, with Amon Shumpert, who's a better fit with that roster. He can play off the ball and he plays defense, which makes it two guys on the perimeter that play defense now. But yeah, Waiters wasn't helping. He's not really a catch and shoot threat. He needs the ball to be effective, and he wasn't getting the ball, and he was being dynamic about that. You know, he was waving his arms around, and yeah, this team's on a one-year deal, essentially trying to appease LeBron every year until he signs long-term and maybe in 2016. So everything they do, LeBron's essentially the GM. But, I mean, there are some merits to that deal that they made with Shumpert and with getting Mozgov as well. You know, they absolutely had to have somebody big in the middle. I don't think Mozgov's a perfect fit because he's not that mobile. And you really have to cover for Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving, which is pretty difficult. You need like a Tyson Chandler, a Larry Sanders type of player. And Mozgov's not that guy. He's really not that laterally mobile. So it's still a flawed roster. It's an improved roster, but it's not. I don't think it's good enough to say that they're the favorite in the East by any means, even though we are taught to assume LeBron's going to go into superhero mode and be able to carry his team. But as we saw last year, when that team runs into a really great offensive team, like the Heat did with the Spurs, they just picked them apart. And the Cavs have similar defensive personnel, but even lesser so than Miami had last year. So as soon as they encounter a team that's well balanced, like the Hawks, for existence, I doubt they're going to be able to survive that.
Let's stop with the Hawks and the East for a second and head to the West, Tyler. And when you look at the West and you look at the hierarchy of the West now, San Antonio is going to make the playoffs, right? I mean, there's no way they don't make the playoffs, is there?
I don't think there is. I mean, you got Kawhi Leonard back now, and I just think that's the Spurs are such, really, to me, an average team without Kawhi out there. I mean, when it comes this summer, they have no choice but to pay him the max for that sole reason alone. And I actually looked it up to see what their record has been without Kawhi on the court. And over the past 3 years, they're 115-34 with him, and 32-26 without him. So, I mean, they're basically playing a little over 500 ball without him on the court. But I still see them staying within the top 8 just because you still have. That is some good drink mixing you got going on over there, Keith.
It's just straight vodka, too.
Oh, this is going to get fun.
When you look at the West, Cole, is it Golden State and then everybody else, or is Portland or Memphis or even a Dallas and Houston? I mean, the West is outside of Golden State. It's pretty balanced from probably 2 to 10. I mean, New Orleans is right there. I think after New Orleans, there's a drop off, but between New Orleans and Portland, it's pretty balanced. Can anybody compete with Golden State in the West, Cole?
Well, I was just thinking about, like, Portland today lost Aldridge for 6 to 8 weeks, thumb injury, so he just got surgery. So that's going to be.
I didn't even know that happened. So
yeah, they just announced that tonight. So he's in a cast and he's gone for almost 8 weeks. So that's going to be hard for them to rebound from that. I mean, they look really poor. I watched the Suns game last night, which I'm assuming you did too, Seth. And I mean, Portland was just in absolute disarray. But to answer your question, Golden State is playing incredible basketball right now. Their whole model is basically they like to switch everything on defense. They have a bunch of hybrid, non-positional players like Draymond Green, Harrison Barnes, Klay Thompson, Andre Iguodala. So everything they do, they pretty much switch, and that's like a huge tactical advantage for them, just because then they don't have to deal with the pick and rolls And that's pretty much 90% of NBA offenses now is pick and roll defense. And if you can just switch things and actually not get burned on switches, then you have a huge advantage. So, I mean, I know we criticize, Keith and I especially criticize Golden State for, the Kevin Love deal and stuff, and I don't think Klay Thompson's been as good as everybody else is saying. Like, he's still not like a juggernaut off the dribble, but he does play defense. He can switch, and, he's not a liability on that end. He's a plus defender, unlike Kevin Love. So you have to give them credit. Steve Kerr's actually implemented a real offense where they pass the ball, unlike Mark Jackson, where it was just isolation-based. So they made really all the right moves. The question with them is going to be injuries, most likely to Bogut, because it seems like every year Bogut gets injured in the playoffs and they lose. So if they can remain healthy, they have an excellent chance to win. I would still pick the Spurs, but you have to give Golden State the benefit of the doubt right now, just like the Hawks.
Keith, how much does it suck not having Steve Kerr as your coach?
What's he going to do with this trash roster we have? Seriously. What's he going to do? Is he going to make, Jose Calderon into an MVP candidate? We suck.
But why is Derek Fisher even playing guys like Jose Calderon? Why not play guys for the future like Clay Anthony Early and, younger pieces on that roster? And instead of signing Lou Amundsen to 10-day contracts and playing him, I don't understand the thought process behind that.
Yeah, Lou Amundsen's in the league. Shock to me. I don't really get it either. They got point guard who I'm completely blanking on, who they signed to a couple 10-days. Help me out here, Cole.
Langston Galloway. Langston Galloway.
Yeah, he looks pretty solid, I guess. But Phil Jackson's reign as a whole, you look at from the very beginning when he didn't give the $1 million qualifying offer, I think it was, really, really small to Shane Larkin, and I have no idea what future the Knicks think they have. They're completely reliant on Carmelo Anthony draft pick and make it up as you go along. Hopefully free agents show up. I have no idea what the plan is here. It's a pretty poorly run team. I'm not going to be the one to get on Derek Fisher because why would he waste coaching acumen on this season? Everybody wants to laugh at that, plagiarized Hoosier speech he gave. Why waste your time coming up with legitimate speeches for this season? This is trash. Just go ahead and lose. I'm mad they won against the 76ers. What are the Knicks doing? I don't know. I'm not happy with it. The Mecca isn't the draw it used to be, sadly. That seems to be what they're completely banking on. It's a bunch of people stealing money. Whatever. Being a Knicks fan sucks.
When you look at the West, Keith, can anybody contend with Golden State in your opinion, or is it about health for San Antonio to reign supreme in the West again?
Absolutely people can compete with Golden State. Golden State is not a playoff-tested team yet. When the chips are on the table, we'll see what Golden State is all about. They look fantastic. I do not want to give Golden State praise. I am not a fan of the organization as a whole. But damn, they look good. Steve Kerr's been fantastic. The offense is implemented, as Cole pointed to. It's been fantastic. And as much as Cole and I specifically have just, bashed Mark Jackson for the, really poor offense he put in there, 3 plays in isolation basketball at most, the defense he implemented, as he pointed out, has really paid dividends. Steve Kerr's been on the record as saying, I did not touch the defense one bit. I loved what I saw on tape. And he's absolutely right. The maturation of players like Barnes, like Thompson, like Draymond Green, who I have, always said that I really favor Harrison Barnes, but they've both been fantastic. They have so many pieces. He's got David Lee to buy into being a bench player, which is really well considering what David Lee can offer. He has done a fantastic job. You have to give them, they're a legitimate title contender, but I cannot call them the favorites based on the team they have. Mo Spates has been an absolute revelation for that team. But at the same time, he's Mo Spates, for the love of God. I'm a huge Mo Spates fan, but I'm not going to call him, a legitimate piece for a title contender. And they're a legitimate piece, a legitimate contender. Dallas is a legitimate contender. Oklahoma City, if they get healthy, they've turned that terrible stretch they had a week ago 180 degrees around. They look really good right now. They're a legitimate contender, healthy in the playoffs, especially with this LaMarcus Aldridge injury. They're going to get in. and nobody wants to see them. There's too much going on in the West to call Golden State prohibitive favorites. But they're in the conversation, which is more than I want to say about them, and about as much credit as I am able to give them, given the fact I do not like the franchise as a whole. They cost me so much damn money against that 8-1 series against Dallas. God, that sucked.
When you just look at the West and kind of the glut of playoff caliber teams, when it's all said and done, who are the two teams left out? Tyler, I'll start with you because you're a Suns fan. The Suns are going to be left out.
I think. Oh, it's a mixed streak time when I talk. Okay, I see how it's going to be. I think Oklahoma City is definitely going to get, at bare minimum, the 8th seed. I mean, they're 14-5 with Durant back on the court. So they're winning 75% of their games. That's a crazy clip. And I don't know if the Suns are going to make it.
Tyler froze.
Maturing right in front of our eyes every game. But I don't know if they're one of the top 8 teams still. So I'm giving it to Oklahoma City. I still think New Orleans is the Pelicans are a year away, regardless of Anthony Davis being a superstar. I think it's OKC that grabs that 8th seed.
When you look at this race, Cole, obviously the Lakers are out, but is anybody? I mean, can Denver or Sacramento make a run, or is it just these 10 teams?
No, it's Oklahoma City and Phoenix. I'm going to rule out New Orleans because Monty Williams doesn't know how to run an NBA offense. They run shots for mid-range jumpers still. It's just ridiculous. They have the best player in the NBA this year by a pretty comfortable margin, and they still can't find how to do anything right on the offensive end. And yeah, I mean everybody else. Denver's out. Denver's going to start fire sailing pretty soon. Sacramento's out. Boogie's just going to do boogie things. Oklahoma City, if they stay healthy, its 8th seed is probably going to be theirs. But I'll still give Phoenix a fighting chance just because they have the continuity, they have the offensive system, they have the tempo to where I think they're up 2 games right now, I want to say, on Oklahoma City. So I mean, It's going to be hard for Oklahoma City to catch them, but I think they will. But those are the 2 teams.
Keith, I'm going to unmute you now. The West, much more entertaining basketball than what's played out East, apparently.
Damn right.
Who's are you with everybody? New Orleans doesn't make it this year, so does it just come down to Phoenix and OKC?
It comes down to Phoenix, OKC, and Portland, because Portland with LaMarcus Aldridge injury, you can't count on them. I love Portland. I've been on the record of saying I love Portland. But Portland without LaMarcus Aldridge isn't Portland anymore. If you're relying on Nicholas Batum to become a one step below all-NBA player to fill in for LaMarcus Aldridge's injury, you're not going to get that. And I like Phoenix to get in the playoffs as the 8th seed just because of the LaMarcus Aldridge injury. I think Phoenix is going to get in because 4 to 6 weeks without LaMarcus Aldridge is too much to overcome. OKC probably is the 7. Phoenix is the 8. Phoenix and Golden State is going to be one hell of a playoff series. I don't know if it'll go 7, but damn, it's going to be some entertaining basketball. No doubt whatsoever about that. That's going to be really well. Phoenix has continued to earn my respect game after game. They are a really entertaining team to watch. They have the same thing, to a lesser extent, that Oklahoma City has. Really great depth. Production from every player they put in the rotation. They are building something that, while it may be 2 to 3 years away from being a legitimate contender, it is clearly on pace. My perception of Phoenix, based on our preseason podcast and now, has completely changed. Their plan makes a lot of sense. The continued maturation of all the pieces they have is exactly what their front office seems to have thought they had. They are on the right track, no doubt about it. Teams like Houston, where you've got, Harden, you got Howard, Dwight Howard, and just players that are going to fall out. I would much rather buy stock in Phoenix, moving forward year after year. I love what Phoenix is doing. I think they get in. It's a phenomenal Western Conference. It is so damn entertaining to watch. But I think this Portland injury is just one hurdle to overcome. And I know damn well, as terrible as some of my preseason podcast was, my thought that Portland was immune to any injury problems getting the playoffs away. The West is so damn strong, I cannot back that anymore. I was absolutely wrong about that. I think it's just, too damn much of them to handle. I expect to see Phoenix in the playoffs. I expect them to make some noise. And the experience they'll get this year, if they do get in, is going to serve them so much dividends over their long-term plan. They're a really great long-term buy, in my opinion. I got to rule Portland out because it's just too damn strong a West.
There you go, Tyler. That'll make your night for you.
Yeah, hey.
Yeah, clear your throat in the mic, Seth. Real smart, dumbass. Let's head back to the preseason and what we were doing. Keith's killing me on mute here. Let's head back to the preseason. What we talked about a little bit in the preseason. I'm gonna skip around a little bit from our chart where we were gonna go. What's the worst call you had this preseason, Keith?
Did I get anything right?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
No. Why did you invite me back? I sucked in the preseason.
Entertainment.
Nothing I said was accurate. Y'all check my status Baratheon shirt out? Shit is sweet.
Oh, there we go. That's incredible.
The one true king, damn it. No, my preseason podcast sucked ass. I knew nothing. Go on to the next guy. I sucked.
Cole, what was your best call?
Well, I was the highest in the Hawks, I think. I didn't have them where they are now, obviously. I'm not going to take any kind of credit for that. But I did.
Nobody did. So any type of.
I said they were, when we did those last three teams in the East, I said that they were the only team I had locked in to make the playoffs. So I just believed in the coach. I believed in the system. No, I didn't expect this. This is like what I expected on freaking steroids. But that was probably my best call.
Tyler, your best call.
I'd say my best call was I said James Harden was a dark horse for MVP, and right now, I mean, you got all the national pundits talking between Harden and Steph Curry. So if Harden wins MVP, got an ASU guy taking home the honors as one of the best players in the NBA. That's pretty sweet. I've
always had a question, and since there's you as an ASU guy and then nobody else, I guess this is a fair question. Who's been a better NBA player from U of A than Harden? Because Sean Elliott's probably the best, right? Or am I
Bye, Tyler.
Tyler left. I ask him a question and he drops out. Get better internet, people. Come on. All right, let's skip that then. Let's go to any other trades. Cole and Keith used to rant, and I do mean rant. Oh, you're back, Tyler. Hey.
Hey, what's up?
Cole and Keith used to rant on the CBS boards about trade possibilities. So I'm gonna cut this much shorter than what they used to write. So we'll start with Keith. Any significant trades pre-deadline? I don't care about in the bench guys, but anything significant you see?
No.
That's a great answer. Cole?
I mean, that's usually the right answer, if you said, because there's normally nothing goes on right before the deadline. It's all build up, but I think a few pieces will move. I think Denver's going to fire sale a couple pieces. Wilson Chandler, most likely. I think Portland's going to get involved in that. You could see Minnesota do the same with Thaddeus Young. especially with this LaMarcus injury. I mean, Portland's going to be the buyer, I think, for sure. Obviously, Brook Lopez, there's been some talk of him going to Oklahoma City, but they essentially were taking back nothing at all. So Oklahoma City, sure, they're going to get him if they have to pay nothing for him because Jeremy Lamb counts as that. But, I expect them to explore some more trades with Brook Lopez, but I doubt anything gets done because they're probably not going to get the deals they're looking for.
Tyler, any ideas?
No.
No?
I got nothing.
Okay. Good. We can skip around on this part. By the way, Keith, my wife says it looks like you're filming a bad version of the Blair Witch Project over.
Awesome!
I was just thinking about that.
so.
I'm in a fucking basement. It's the only place to blog, right?
That's right. That's what. It has to be your mom's basement. So.
It's not that, but it's close.
All right. Let's. Looking. I'm trying to decide what to do first. All right. Let's go. Let's continue with this season, and then I'll let Keith rant at the end. Mid-season awards. Just give me names. We don't need to go too in depth because it's all going to change. So, mid-season awards. When you look at it so far, who's your MVP, Keith?
That's really damn tough. It's hard to call Harden the MVP as good as he's been just because he struggled against Golden State, and I think the voters will vote against him. You can't really give it to Anthony Davis as great as he's been because his team sucks.
The NBA won't do that. We know that.
No, you have to be a top seed, which is why, unfathomably, I have to say the most likely MVP at this point of the season is Stephen Curry. He's great, don't get me wrong. I don't think he's by any stretch the best player in the league. But when you consider you have to have one of the top 3 records historically, a great player, and one of the 3 best teams, it is really hard to find a better candidate than Steph Curry. And, I mean, dude is really damn good, don't get me wrong. He is really good. I don't think, by any stretch, he's a legitimate MVP. I mean, if you look at LeBron James' numbers this year, he's my damn vote every year. I'm on the record as that in every single damn thing I ever post, which is like 3 tweets a day, 3 tweets a month at this point. But he should be, but, I mean, Stephen Curry is the odds-on favorite right now. And going back to what you're going to get to eventually, probably the only thing I had right at this point is the way Alfred Payton is playing. I had that in the preseason, and he's looked really damn good the last couple of weeks. Maybe he'll be Rookie of the Year. So I want to get right now, before we jump on that was one thing out of a million I said right on the preseason podcast. But back to if you're actually saying Stephen Curry right now is the most likely MVP, despite me not thinking he's the best player in the league. Move on.
All right, Cole, who do you got?
I mean, for the same reasons, I would probably lean Curry just because he fits the criteria historically. But I think Harden will get serious consideration just because he has the highest usage rate in the league, and he really carries that offense. I mean, people know now that it's his team. It's not Dwight Howard's team. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's his team, and he's the reason they go, and he's the main reason they go. You can point to a number of things in Golden State as the reason they're so good. And Houston, it's really just James Harden. But yeah, I will agree with Keith and say Stephen Curry.
Tyler, you wanna pimp for
going Harden
here?
Yeah, I'm going Harden, man.
All right.
I could have gone with that Wizards angle, but I'm going with Harden. I just feel like he's improved on his perimeter defense simply through giving more effort. I feel like that's the only thing he's really done more on defense to me. Give more effort. It's not like he improved. It's not like his technique or anything is different. It's like, yeah, I just feel like he gives more effort on the defensive side of the ball. And he's always been a really underrated passer.
Slightly.
I mean, he's always been a good passer in the pick and roll, and I feel like they're starting to bring that out of him a little more this year. So that's my pick for MVP.
Tyler, we'll stick with you. Rookie of the Year.
I mean, so far this rookie class looks kind of, but
I thought it was supposed
Andrew
to be
Wiggins.
historic.
Yeah, I mean Andrew Wiggins is. You got to go with Wiggins just because his team's so bad and he's putting up big numbers. I don't know if he would be. I mean, if he were still in Cleveland, I doubt he'd be putting up numbers anywhere near that. Obviously, with LeBron and Kyrie in the offense, but I don't know. I'll just pick Wiggins. That's the only. I mean, he looks like a really promising young pick, but other than that, this class looks like garbage.
Cole.
I'm going to agree. Just Wiggins. He's had a pretty good spree the last month or so where he's putting up big numbers, and he's developing his post moves and stuff like that, his dribble moves, and he plays defense. I thought Jabari, who I chose for Rookie of the Year, he really picked it up offensively before towards ACL. That was unfortunate. The other unfortunate thing is the only rookie that's really playing meaningful minutes is Mirotic on the Bulls, and he's played pretty well. He's kind of dubbed off a little bit lately, but I think Wiggins has to be it just for sheer statistics.
Keith, Elfrid Payton, you got anything to add to your Elfrid Payton?
As much as I like Elfrid Payton, the way he's played so far, Wiggins has really thinned it up. There's a great article on 538.com, which, as much as I hate to support the Grantland Network and all those ESPN sister sites, they do really nice work. They compare his season before his explosion to LeBron James. It's pretty damn comparable. LeBron James, as much as everybody remembers his first game, how well he looked with that. He's struggled through his first 30 games with that, and the way Wiggins has exploded after the fact, he has looked damn good so far. He is certainly the favorite at the moment. Elfrid Payton, however, people write him off because, damn, he sucked through his first 20-25. He's put up some solid damn numbers lately, and he is absolutely in consideration as well. Mirotic is a damn good player, but given the Bulls' struggles as a whole, the fact that he is the third four in the rotation, as much as they like to go small and put him in the rotation, he's tough to put in there. And you have to favor Wiggins. Payton deserves consideration, and you can go on while I chug this shot of vodka, baby.
All right, Tyler, you're most improved.
I got Mo Spades, man. Where does this guy come from? Mo Spades played with the 76ers a couple years back. I mean, he's bounced around too. Mo Spades is actually, I got to say, he's become a legitimate piece of that rotation. I mean, I don't think you could say otherwise. I just feel like he adds something to that starting, or not starting, obviously, but to that big man rotation that they don't really have, and that's a scorer. David Lee to me is just, he's washed up. Draymond Green's not a huge scorer. Bogut's just a defensive center. I mean, he can score, but I don't know. I feel like Mo Spades. That's my MIP.
Cole.
Well, I guess it'd be cheating to say Anthony Davis because he went from like number 10 to number 1. I think you can make an argument he's improved in pretty much every capacity this year. But I'm going to say Jimmy Butler, even though he had a great month of December, and then he's kind of tailed off a little bit since Rose got back into a more prominent role. But he's a guy that we were just kind of throwing out as like a defensive 3-and-D guy who couldn't really shoot consistently, didn't really have anything off the dribble. And right now he's second in the league in free throw attempts. He's expanded his game a lot off the dribble, and he's a max guy now. I mean, there's no debating it as far as these really high volume, or not volume I should say, but these highly regarded wings get paid, and he brings it on both ends now. So I got to say Jimmy Butler.
Keith, most improved.
Before I get to that, I want to know what the hell are those books behind Cole? Are those law books?
Yeah, I'm trying to sell them back.
Shit, those things are dope.
Yeah.
I got a fucking curtain behind me. That shit is awesome. No, Jimmy Butler's absolutely the answer. He is the one that the media's going to vote for. There's no doubt about it. It doesn't matter the fact that he's fallen off a little bit after the fact. Jimmy Butler is going to get the MIP. You could absolutely make a case for Anthony Davis. You make a case for James Harden. You can make a case for Boogie Cousins. But it's Jimmy Butler's award, period. They're not going to give it to anybody else the same way that Tyreek Evans, Rookie of the Year, Brandon Jennings, who probably deserves consideration as damn good as he's looked with Portland, he deserves consideration. But they're going to give it to Jimmy Butler, and he's looked phenomenal. The fact that he declined the offer that the Bulls gave him and bet on himself. I mean, Carmelo Anthony should get a cut of his paycheck for not going over there and allowing Jimmy Butler to shine and get the money he's about to get in the next offseason. Mm-hmm. Jimmy Butler's going to win it. You could make arguments, probably better arguments, for a lot of other players. But I fully expect Jimmy Butler to win that award. And as bad as the Bulls look, when they squeak into the playoffs, he's going to get even more and more credit. There's no doubt in my mind about that. It's his award, as much as I may, at the end of the season, disagree.
Is there anybody, Keith, that wins Coach of the Year other than, or is it just between Budenholzer and Kerr at this point?
It's Budenholzer, because Kerr has a team that the media love to begin with. Budenholzer doesn't. That's the tiebreaker. I don't know who else the hell you throw in there, to be honest with you. As much as I love the way that, oh, damn it, I'm too damn drunk. Carlisle, he has worked Rondo into the rotation pretty damn well, considering that a move that significant should have had a lot more volatility to it than that has shown so far with that team. Granted, they've been up and down, but they've been up and down less than I would have expected after that move from the trade till now. I love what Carlisle's done, but it's Budenholzer's award to lose, and how is he going to lose it? This win streak is too damn much to overcome. Full respect to Kerr, but it's Budenholzer's.
Tyler.
Yeah, it's definitely Budenholzer's, and then Kerr is the second place guy. The only third place guy I can think of is Terry Stotts, and that depends on how the Blazers finish without LaMarcus for these next few weeks. But he's not going to win. It's Budenholzer. I'm with Keith. It's Budenholzer.
Cole, any dissenting opinion here?
Nope, they pretty much said it all. Budenholzer.
All right, let's get to our wrap up of our new finals picks, updated finals picks. I'm pretty sure we all had San Antonio in. Did anybody not have San Antonio in?
I had Dallas as a dark horse, but I had San Antonio.
Yeah,
I think we all had San Antonio. So
I had Dallas.
Now, you had Dallas?
I had Dallas. I'm sticking with it.
Okay, so you can go first then. Dallas versus who?
I had Dallas with the Cavs. I like it. I'm not buying Atlanta. They're the fucking Atlanta Hawks. And I like the way Dallas shouldn't mature throughout the end of the season. I think they have the offensive firepower and an amoeba defense with the zone. I think is enough to carry them through 7-game series against anybody in the West. I like where I was at previously. I'm sticking with it. Period.
Cole, your thoughts?
I'm going to stick with San Antonio. Go to the Hawks now. I mean, I originally had the Cavs as well, but I mean, I've watched probably 20 Hawks games this year, and they've just been phenomenal. I didn't expect this. Their offense is it's going to be really hard to stop. The Cavs do not have the personnel to stop Atlanta's offense, as crazy as that sounds. They just don't have the bigs. Like Mozgov, if they pick and roll and they switch, they're going to end up with like Mozgov on Jeff Teague or something, and they can't do that. They don't have the personnel. So I think Atlanta, with their ball movement, and if they maintain this level of defense, they will make the finals, just because I don't think anybody else in the East can match them on both sides of the ball. And I'm not going to bet against San Antonio. I'm not going to be somebody that goes, it's better to be off the bandwagon first before it falls off. But I'm just going to ride them out. Kawhi Leonard just came back, as Tyler noted, and he's looked phenomenal. He's their best player, and he does so much for that team. And I'm not going to bet against them.
Tyler?
I feel like if Andrew Bogut can stay healthy, I think Golden State is the top team now for the West. I just feel like they have all their pieces together. Steve Kerr's added so much to that offense. And in the East, I kind of agree with both Keith and Cole on certain parts. I feel like with the Cavs, you have a superstar. I mean, it's always hard to bet against a superstar, and it's the Atlanta Hawks, But at the same time, the Hawks bigs, I mean, Al Horford, who's going to guard Al Horford, really. I mean, you could have put a Verjao on him, but he's gone. So who are you gonna guard Horford with? I don't know. And then Millsap, I don't know. They're just two agile bigs that I don't feel like the Cavs can guard at all. So with that being said, I'm still gonna go with the Cavs though. I just feel like the superstar trio. I feel like Kevin Love can pick up his game. There's a lot of room to improve. I think they'll eventually start meshing together the same way the Heat did when they were together for their first year. I'm just going to go with Cleveland.
All right. And Tyler, you can lead us off with our last topic of the day, and that's the NBA draft. Keith, I'll let you go last, so I'm going to keep you muted while you make yourself another drink. The NBA draft, it looks very much right now like it's a tank fest. And is there a player worth tanking for?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I feel like Jahlil Okafor is the top guy to draft in this class. And if LA, the Lakers, can get him, pair him with Julius Randle in that front court, I don't know. I feel like that's pretty deadly. And then Emmanuel Mudiay, if New York wants to ditch the triangle offense and actually get somebody in there to run it, then maybe Mudiay would be a perfect fit for them. But I don't think Phil Jackson will stop being stubborn and just ditch that stupid triangle because it's obviously not going to work with any of the personnel they have.
Cole, your Lakers, who's the best fit if they end up with the top 5 pick after Kobe tore a rotator cuff, apparently throwing a ball at somebody in practice?
Allegedly.
I have to put allegedly. That's right. Cole's my lawyer, so take up all complaints with him.
I really think Karl Towns is the best fit with that roster. He's a guy that's more versatile than Okafor. I mean, Okafor's really good. He's a low post guy. He's the most developed low post scorer I've seen since probably Duncan, I want to say, at the top. He's got great footwork, but he does have some flaws. He's not very athletic, not very mobile defensively. I think if you pair him with Randall, that's a pretty civish kind of defensive front court. And Towns gives you a little bit more shot blocking ability. He can kind of play the Al. He's kind of similar to me to Al Horford, kind of. He's like more. You want him in a pick and roll offense to where he can pick and pop and he can pass. He's the best passer of any big in the draft. So yeah, I think that's a great fit for the Lakers. And actually, if the Knicks keep the triangle, I think that's where you see the Okafor fit really well. Because he's a guy that you can throw it to in like the Pau Gasol mode. He's a pretty good passer out of the post, but he can just dominate down there if you put him in the scoring position. So those are definitely the two guys. I can't really say anything about Mudiay yet, just because all we see is like YouTube clips of him playing in China. He looks ridiculously athletic. He's 6'5". I love big point guards. But right now it's just those three with a caveat of being I've actually seen the first two play NCAA games.
Who are you hoping the Knicks get to, Keith?
Let me chug some vodka first, and I'll get right back to you. Okafor is clearly the best fit with the triangle offense as a whole. I love what I've seen out of Karl Towns so far. But at the same time, you look at some of these talented players as a whole. I am enamored right now with the upside of, and damn, absolute vodka's killing me, Trey Lyles. He looks like a player that if you get him with the NBA contract, the 4+1 deals that they have over there, you are going to have an absolute stud by the time you're done with that. At the same time, Okafor is the best player short-term for the Knicks. Towns would be the best player, your 2 and 3 maybe for the Knicks. If they end up failing in the lottery, Trey Lyles may be the actual best player that fits the Knicks' plans long-term, as most of the Knicks' plans long-term freaking suck, as far as Phil Jackson has no idea what he's doing, sad as it is to say. Lyles is a player that I am really interested to see where he lands. Okafor is going to make a really immediate impact. Karl Towns is going to be the player. True as he is now, he's going to look phenomenal. And listening to Karl this last, settled. He was the best player in there. But damn, whoever gets Trey Lyles is going to get an absolute steal. at that position. His game is so NBA ready right now. It is just utterly disgusting. Moutier, as far as that goes, I work too damn much to have any damn idea how he looks in China. I will take y'all's word for it.
All right. Well, before we end here, let's say your Lakers end up with the 6th pick, which we know the NBA won't do. So if they're in position to have a top 5 pick, they're going to end up with the top 5 pick. They won't fall out. But let's say they end up with the 6th pick and that ends up in Phoenix hands. Is Lyles the best fit that would likely be there at 6, or can somebody like Miles Turner fall to 6, Cole?
Well, in the case of that happening, that'd be the Suns pick. So that would go to the Suns because the Lakers pick's top 5 protected. So for you guys, I mean, I don't know where to start with you guys. You guys don't need any more young players. You guys need to package a bunch of your assets for an actual star. So, I mean, that's what I'd use it for. I can't really think of a player you guys need besides like a star wing. So maybe that Arizona wing player that I haven't watched, Stanley Johnson, whenever, shooting like 43% from 3, something like that I think you guys could use. But yeah.
He's a defensive stopper, right?
He originally, yeah, that's what he was supposed to be. He's great on defense. They didn't know if he could shoot, but he's shooting like 43%. So that's definitely somebody that I could see the Suns liking.
Cole or Tyler at 6, if the Suns end up with that pick, who would you want them to grab?
Honestly, yeah, I'm kind of with Cole. At this point, it feels like there's such a logjam at almost every position except for maybe the 4. If they keep, that's assuming they keep Brendan Wright at the 5. There's too many wings. I don't want a 3 unless it's a star that they trade for. I feel like you package that pick with something and try and get somebody that can help the team take a notch up immediately. I mean, they've already got T.J. Warren in the waiting. Green's on an expiring contract, but who knows what they do with him. P.J. Tucker's still going to have a couple more years after this. There's Archie Goodwin is in the waiting. There's so many players you got to find minutes for that, and they're all, I mean, I feel like they're all able to contribute right now at the NBA level. So I think it's time to package them and trade them.
All right, guys. Well, that's it for tonight. I appreciate everybody joining us. Keith, thanks.
I don't get it on that one.
You want to give me the best player to fit for the Suns?
It's not Trey Lyles. As much as I love his upside, he does not fit with the Suns. The best player for the Suns is undoubtedly Okafor, but he would never be a player that would fall down to 6. If I'm the Suns, what I'm looking for in this draft is a knockdown 2. I would package the pick, like I said, I would trade down. They need somebody like a Trevor Booker. The way his game has progressed from the beginning of the Kentucky season to right now, he is a player that if they are the 2 to 3 year window that they seem to be on right now to be a legitimate title contender, his knockdown 3-point shooting would be just an enormous asset for the Suns, in my opinion. If they can move down, pick up a legitimate starting 5 piece, they could possibly fit into the 4, like they've said, and they can pick in Devin Booker and work him in to where he could be a knockdown 3 with legitimate defensive ability 2 to 3 years ago. He is the player on the Suns that I think could really make them from a fringe contender to a legitimate title contender, in my opinion. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Keith, for staying sober enough to help us out tonight. We appreciate it.
Did I?
Yeah. Well, we'll
cool.
See. We'll see right before the finals. We'll do another podcast and see what happens. So, Tyler, appreciate it. Cole, have a good night, everybody, and thanks for listening.
Good stuff, y'all. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.